Hi, welcome to No Ticket Backwards. And we are talking about protection again. This is Taiza, and we have our special guest, Fiona, who is so special that we have a whole playlist dedicated to the awesome topics that she's bringing. She has a really fun topic today she wanted to bring. This is her magic and her anyway, she wants to talk it's a little more woo than some of the other things that we've talked about, and she wants to talk about how she calls on elementals. And I'm really excited because I have a story I can contribute to, but she has worked with elementals for protection. And I think it's really fun because it's like these are stories you love to hear, but you're like, is that real? But like they're fun. And she has experiences like firsthand. So Fiona, we get to work with fire today.
Fire and water.
Fire and water. Okay, awesome.
So somebody told me that you can call on fire and water and wind and help them protect you and keep you safe. I'm like, really? Like fire can be so destructive and water can, be really destructive and so can wind. Like, really? I can do that? And I'm like, yeah, you can. I'm like, okay. And then I come back to the how. And I, wanted it to be prescriptive and I wanted it to be, this is exactly what you say. And well, one day we were burning off some garden waste in the back paddock. And where we'd set the pile for it, I realised it was really close to my favourite red flowering gum tree. And I really didn't want my red flowering gum tree to get damaged and hurt. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, gum tree. As the flames are licking towards the gum tree. And the flames were about this far apart, this far away from the gum tree. I'm like, oh. And in a panic, I guess, I was like, hey, water, can you protect the tree? Can you just go in between the flames and just protect the tree so the tree doesn't get damaged? Can you please go in there and just wrap yourself around this fire space and put a fire break in so that the fire can do its thing and the tree doesn't get hurt? As I'm saying that and saying, I don't know, that might not have been exactly what I said, but it was something to that effect. I cannot tell you prescriptively what it had. I did it in the spur of the moment. And I watched the flames go from that to that as I'm talking in my head to water. I'm like, wow, thanks. And in my head, I'm just going, wow, thanks, wow, thanks, wow, thanks, wow, thanks. In my head, over
So
and over. I was
cool.
just amazed at it. So, what's one story that you've got?
So I had a friend like who had someone who was going to come visit, and that person who's going to come visit had an abusive ex or need to be an ex. And oh, it's kind of a loaded topic. So just like feeling the emotions of like what that setup is, because it's like you want to protect, but then there's the danger. Anyway, my friend imagined this like fire. They practice a lot of like fun energy things. So they imagined this fire all around the property with like, and it made it all like medieval and Catholic, or not Catholic, castle like. So it was like this flaming, I don't know, like it reminds me of like Sleeping Beauty when the prince is trying to get, so it was like there was a moat and then there was like the fiery barrier to protect their, the peace, like their home, everything. And it kept the person away. Like there was no interactions. And not only that, it extinguished whatever was going on between, like, the volatility between that couple also like simmered down and they figured it out. But just like the protection was so strong by imagining this, just imagining a fiery barrier that like
That's
the
so
person
cool.
couldn't, yeah, isn't that like, sometimes I'm just like, are our minds really that powerful? But it's like you're not out anything by trying, because if you fail, then you're just gonna get what would happen anyway. But if you try and it works, like you're just like, wow. And it's the more you do it and the more you have the wow moments, the more it seems to work. And I think that's like the idea of what faith and trust is all about, right? Like you're better than I am.
I think it's about doing it for good though. So there's got to be good intent. So the
Mm,
good in the fire flicking direction was to save the tree. The good in that situation that you're talking about seems like um, to save the positive and keep the calm and keep the peace. So that was good intent. And you're
yeah,
just letting it go to the universe about what happens to the rest. Like you just want the good and you're just asking for the good. So it's not about being malicious in any way, even though the fire sounds like pretty strong. It's pretty like a quite a volatile and strong thing to use as a tool. And I
it does.
guess, some people could perceive it as a weapon, but it's not a weapon. It's a protection. It's like, well, here's a barrier. Here's a barrier that I'm putting around to protect me. So I have another back paddock story as well, where we were
Cool.
lighting a fire. There was a whole pile of sticks and things that just needed to be burned, and it wasn't that far from the neighbour's fence. And we have like wooden posts in the fence line, and then there was trees on the other side, and immediately on the other side of the fence, and I could see the fire creeping towards the fence, and it was probably about this far from the fence, and I just thought, oh, I don't want it to go through. It's just going to go through the fence, and then like that's a disaster, and I don't want that.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
bad.
water, hey, water, can you just run along the fence line? Can you just go along the fence line and flow along there and just like, can you just put a barrier in there so that the fire can't skip into the neighbours and like just save the burning on the other side? Can you do that? Can you just put a line there? And as I was saying that, I don't quote me exactly what I said, but essentially that's what I said in a panic,
Yeah.
in a moment. It was like, oh my God, this happened. I just watched the flames instead of creeping forward towards the fence, turn and creep sideways parallel to the fence.
Wow.
It was just so magical. I was like, oh, look at that. Look at that. And then very
It re
recently, we
there's
were,
a like it reminds me of a story of like a shaman that fell into the ice, and that shaman pictured themselves as like a polar bear, and they treaded water for hours, and they were pulled out and they were fine. And it was like because they I don't know how it works. But like I've
I
heard
don't think you
stories
need
like
to know
that.
how. I don't think you need to know the how. It's just like,
Yeah,
it does
and
that.
it's like, yeah, well, shamans, they have magical powers, but like, do they? Or is it something that we're all capable of?
I think we're all capable of it, and the shamans are just there to as teachers to help the rest of us understand.
So they're
That's
like,
my perspective.
it's like anybody can do first aid, but the shamans are like, the
The
surgeons,
paramedics.
the paramedics. Yeah, something like that.
Or the teachers of first aid. So recently we had this little window of opportunity to burn off a whole pile of garden waste,
Oh, wow.
um, and in the back paddock. But summer's coming, and the grass was long, and we'd gone, all right, this is our window, let's do it. By the time the half an hour from when we decided that we would do it, the wind had popped up, and I'm like, oh, this could be disastrous. Like
Mm,
this could just take off and be a grass fire. Um, so I just thought, it's not going to be a grass fire. We're going to be protected. Wait, I'm going to put some magic in here. I'm going to ask for protection. So I did that exact same thing. Yes, we had done some physical things. We'd mowed a bit around. We had some spades there to like dampen out and pat out some of the small creeping flames. But I'm like, no, I'm going to ask for protection. So I asked fire to do its job, to burn what we'd asked. I asked fire, please do this. And seriously, fire was very hot that day. And beastly hot, like it was burning really fiercely hot. And I said,
mm,
water, I'm asking you to put a moat around so that the fire can't spread any further. And wind, I'm asking you to be gentle here so that fire and water can do their job. Guess what?
It worked.
It worked.
It just makes me think about like the wildfires that have been ravaging the US at certain periods and Australia at certain periods. Like could they have been pulled back if someone would have just used some intention?
Well, I have a friend who she is so magical. She lives in the US and she tells this story about how she was driving by herself with her we call it a caravan on the back. She calls it a camper. And there was
Mm-hmm.
a hurricane warning or a storm coming through, like something in conditions that were not safe for her to be
Yeah.
driving. And so she just asked for the storm to, I don't know exactly how she did it, but essentially the essential part of it is she asked for protection and she asked for the storm to give her passage to be able to go through safely. And the storm just changed directions. And she got to a destination safely.
That's impressive.
She's incredible. Well, I can't get enough of that lady. She is just incredible at what she asks to do. She even asks for protection sometimes. When she tells this story about ants that came into her unit, and
About
like
what?
there was just
Who?
ants, little ants.
Oh, ants. Okay.
Yeah, and she just had this infestation of ants in the house, and she kind of did that time jumping thing, kind of did the I don't know how she does it, but she just basically yelled at them and said to get out of my house. You're not welcome here. But she did
I
it
mean,
in a way, in her own cool way that she does it. And then she just watched them all just march to the front door. Like there was just like this ant march and they all just migrated out of her door. And she's truly magical. I want to be
that
like
is
her.
really cool.
I want to be like her. She's just incredible.
You I hate to be the one to break it to you. Actually, I'd love to be the one to break it to you. You are just like her.
Okay, thanks. She's incredible.
Cool. And so are you. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, I love that so much. So I want to share, I don't feel like, I don't know if this is in the same caliber, but when you talked about the storm, I was in Florida for a couple hurricanes, and the first one traumatized me. I am from the desert. Like, we don't get storms like that, like at all. And it terrified my animal body. Like it was a primal fear like I've never experienced. It was deeply upsetting from a not rational place. Like I know it sounds funny, but the animal of my body was terrified. Like, and it didn't just go away. Like if I had been a horse, I would have ran inland and just kept running. Like it was and it wasn't like it was bad, but it wasn't one of the worst, right? So the second time when there was another hurricane coming, I used chamomile because I'm a big gardener. And so like I took chamomile and I sprinkled it around and I was like imagining like a blanket, like a comforter, like a duvet or comforter, like a feather soft blanket, like surrounding everything that I sprinkled it around. Just like smothering out any type of like upset. Because I didn't like I wanted calm and peace. I didn't want I mean, the storm was storming enough. Like, I didn't want something that was like, the idea of like adding fire to fire or whatever, fighting fire with fire. Like, the idea of something that was chaotic in the storm was like, no, I want peace, I want comfort. And I was like, chamomile. And I mean, the that hurricane ended up not being that bad, but like it did feel better to me. And like, there was no big manifestation of like, "Oh, I can see the flames changing," but it was a much calmer experience. Um, so yeah, I guess, like, I think that maybe we all have situations where something like that might happen, even if we don't acknowledge it as much as we could. And it's like the more you acknowledge it, the more you kind of build it. So it's like, oh wait, yeah, I really can see that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
coming to
Yeah.
stand inside.
I'd like to get in the minds of um, some of the famous people in history who have survived, like the polar bear story you talked about.
Yeah.
And the people who have been imprisoned and years and years and years, and they just come out all peaceful. Like, what was going on in their mind, and how were they actually giving them self protection? How were they changing their beliefs
So
so that,
I
like,
love
I
that. And
would
can I just like
love to
pop
be in there.
in with like Nelson Mandela?
Yeah, I'd love to have been like a little fly on the wall in Nelson Mandela's mind of
Well,
what he was saying to him. What
he
was his
recited
self-talk?
Invictus to himself every day. Like it was like a mantra. Do you know this? Am I telling you stuff you know already?
I don't know it verbatim what it was, but I know he
So
did.
with
But
Invictus, it's like it's kind of a dark poem if you're not in a dark place, but if you're in a dark place, it's a very hopeful poem. But the line, it's like, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And so like it's so easy to get bitter or feel resentment when you're imprisoned for
good
standing up for
reasons.
people's rights, for civil rights,
Mhm.
you know? And it could have crippled him, but he didn't. Like, it was bad enough to him that he was imprisoned for trying to do good. He refused to give up his goodness. He would not, like, let it recede. And so he used that poem as a mantra to be like, "No, you're not, like, I may be incarcerated, but you are not going to make me bitter." And like I think about that a lot, and like there was a while where I like recited the poem, but the two lines, I am the master of my fate and the captain of my soul. Like that sticks with me, and I tell myself that sometimes. Like uh when I was in a bad spot and I wanted to blame everybody and did blame everybody, honestly. There's also a part of me that's like, "No, we're not stopping here. We're going back, like, back to the place where I get to say things because I am the captain of my soul. I am the master of my fate." Like, I switch those words. Like, the captain and master, sometimes I mix them up, okay? But still, the concept is that I am the one who decides who I get to be, and I feel very strongly about that.
And I think that relates very directly to another little episode that we had where we were talking about time jumping and
Mm,
changing your beliefs and changing your outcomes. So you can it they kind of intersect, the
they very
changing your
much
beliefs
intersect.
and time jumping. It's like, well, I believe that it's going to work out this way now. I want it to be this way. And do it if you're doing it for good. Like, of course, your prayers are going to be answered, whether you call them prayers, whether you call them requests, whatever intentions, manifestation, whatever you want to call them, they'll get answered. They might not get answered in the way you imagined, but they'll get answered. And I know it's when I first started with all of this, and they were like, "You got to change your beliefs. You got to trust." I'm like, oh, "What?"
Yeah, no problem.
But I suggest to anybody watching this, just try it. What's 30 seconds of your time of, of thinking something like, "Oh my God, I need protection right now. Fire, can you just put a moat around me? Can you put a wall, a barrier around this situation? Water, can you put a moat on the other side just to soften it for the other people a little bit and just to let it all just flow past with ease and grace? Can you do that? Hey, wind, can you put us in a tunnel like the vortex of a cyclone? Can you put us in there and just wrap us all up and protect us?" I don't know. You can just ask.
I love that.
There's no, if you don't ask, you don't receive.
It's true. It's true. You just go on the default settings, and if your default settings are good, you're good, but if they're not, you might wanna rearrange that.
Reprogram it. Well, it's been lovely chatting again today,
Yes,
Tasia.
it's
Thank
been so
you.
good. It's always a pleasure.
I'd love to know some feedback from people if they've
Yeah,
tried it.
for sure. We'll get it. Thank you. I hope whoever watches this, thanks for watching, and I hope it's been useful. And we have more if you need more.